Hey, Jazz here. Well, if you can believe it, Grey Havens is asking for a community to assist them with ideas surrounding their upcoming releases. And I just gotta say, I'm cautiously optimistic and undoubtedly excited about what is to come in the next few months. So this video is going to break down a proof of concept of my own vision concerning this new Mercenary update. It's just a dream of mine. I know that some of these ideas are easier than others in terms of implementation and the amount of work, and that there's a 99% chance that none of this will be added to the game, but let's do it anyway. First, a few announcements from me. So number one, we raised $20,910 for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital on May 7th. That was absolutely nuts. It was so much fun. I appreciate each and every one of you for donating. I honestly thought that due to the size and the scope of the event that I would never be able to do another one that was bigger and better, or at least like the same size. But number two, I will be applying for that additional support position on the Grey Havens team when the job gets posted on the forums. If you would like to support me in my quest to get on staff so that I can create even more engaging content, be an ally and representative of you as the player base in meetings, and put a tree on Admiral Dogs. I'm kidding. Please send a letter to the job posting on my behalf explaining why I would be a good choice. So my sources tell me that Daniel James, aka Cleaver, will likely handle the entire hiring process, so maybe my criticism of the way the Ocean Masters get things done in the past will not sink me immediately. So thanks in advance if you do spend your time doing that for me. Just when the job posting happens and they say attach this, that, or the other, just attach a letter. That would be sick. And finally, number three. So Krakling Game II will be the next big event. It got canceled before when I charged $200,000 per pirate to join. 3 people signed up. Honestly, I blame the forums being down and my lack of advertising for that. Oops. But the game is set up and ready to go, and I'm waiting for a donation from an amazing pirate for the prize, which is to be announced. All donors of Sailing for St. Jude will be allowed free entry into the games, and anyone else who would like to play will have that same $200K entry fee. So this will likely occur sometime between July and September, and I'll post an announcement when the details are ironed out. This is all contingent, of course, on the forums being back up and running. Alright, now let's get on with the video. So, first off, based on this Mercenaries update, it's apparent that Grey Havens' team really wants to give the community a fighting chance at filling a ship without pirates having to make deals with our community's version of Davy Jones and their legendary bot armies. If I were them, I would have fixed this crap a long time ago. How? I'm going on a little side note here. Use some sort of human checker or CAPTCHA. There was another MMO I used to play called Drift City. It was a car driving game, and you got random items for drifting, which could easily be automated if you just wrote a script. So the way that they fought that was every 2 minutes or so, a simple CAPTCHA would pop up and give you 10 seconds to complete it. Otherwise, you would be logged out. I noticed Nate in the Discord forums had the same idea in the official YPP Discord server, My vision for CAPTCHA in YPP would be a seasick mechanic. So like every, I don't even know how often or so, a simple sliding puzzle would pop up that said something like, oh no, you're beginning to feel seasick. Get it together before you fall off the deck. So you would have like a certain amount of seconds to complete the puzzle, and then if you didn't finish it in time, you would wash up on the nearest island shore. So I think that would be a great short-term fix, at least until the bot maker people got clever. But I digress. So let's dive into my perspective and reasoning for this mercenary update idea that I have, and then I'll reveal the details. Yes, the guy who doesn't even get on a boat has a perspective and a reasoning. So we need this update to allow our little community to simply do more. More content, more trophies, more customization, more opportunities, more ways to access old content that would otherwise be difficult to manage with the low population. More of a reason to even get on a pillage. Like, do those make money anymore? And especially more ways to bridge the gap between the new player and the very fun in-game content that requires so much teamwork, time, energy, resources, and most importantly, training, all of which are really scarce in this game's 20th year of life. So enter Mercenaries. I feel like I can address all of those needs in one fell swoop. Mercenaries. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of this, so just bear with me here. So purchasing and using. You unlock a mercenary by paying a certain amount of dubs, or whatever. Once you've unlocked a mercenary, they're companions for life. Pirates can purchase and unlock multiple types of mercenaries, more on that in a second. But only one of your mercenaries can be on a ship with you at a time. For example, 10 people on a ship could have an additional 10 mercenaries, plus however many whitey jobbers that would typically be on that size of ship. All of your unlocked mercenaries automatically apply when you post a job on the notice board, but you can only ask one to sail with you. There's also a new check mark under the officer options that says Allow Mercenaries, which would effectively allow the captain of a ship to determine whether jobbers can bring on their own mercenaries. Okay, bear with me now. Leveling, abilities, and puzzling skill. When you first hire a mercenary, like right when you make that purchase, they're pretty much the same as any other whitey, other than a few stat changes that we'll talk about. Once you've had them on board for pillages for a certain amount of time or battles or whatever, you would get a trophy that said the blank. So for this example, I'll say the clown, okay? And that would be connected to their title. And again, we'll get to that. So the title, which would also be the prefix of their name, that's typically an adjective in the game, like when you see a random whitey and their name is like Harry, Bonnie, or whatever. So instead of that adjective, there would be a denotation of the kind of mercenary that they are. So once the trophy is unlocked, your mercenary of that specific type unlocks an ability. Some abilities are advantageous, some are lucrative, some increase ease of pillaging, but all of them are useful in some way. All right, so in addition, each time you purchase a mercenary, they roll 7 random stats. Each mercenary will pull an excellent and 1 duty puzzle, 3 goods, math, and 3 fines. So the 7 puzzles a mercenary can manage are gunning, sailing, carpentry, bilging, rigging, and patching. Is that 6? Oh, navigating. So I'm open to the idea that mercenary stats would be fixed based on the kind of mercenary, but it would be more profitable for Greyhavens to just dismiss mercenaries. Pirates can dismiss a mercenary if they don't care for the stats with a bad roll, and then buy another generated one to get their desired stat roll. Or maybe they want a better name. Maybe you can use rogue marks to change their name. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Here's the interesting part. I have crafted 20 different kinds of mercenaries and what kinds of abilities. Oh, hey, Bowie. Bowie's going to be in the video now. Mwah. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into this. So I'm gonna break it down into a table that you'll see over here. There's mercenary. Then, so the name of the mercenary is also their prefix, such as Gunner Carl. Personality, much like pets, being in a chat circle with your mercenary will generate conversation of a certain nature based on the type of mercenary that they are. And then their ability. So abilities are the different useful things that are going to be in the game. Hopefully they're not game breaking. I don't think that they are, and maybe you can agree or disagree. The first one is charter. So I also, in the table, you'll see I put kind of a way that they dress by default, and we'll talk about the clothing in a little while. So personality boasts of exotic travels. Their ability is they can chart you up to one island away from where you're ported. So no longer having to rely on other people to memorize the ocean, because it will let you chart one island to the other back and forth. The next is chantier. They randomly burst into song, and their ability is that they decrease the use of rum on the ship. So they keep everyone in a good mood, which means there's less reliance on rum, and so that's how the math works out. The lookout. They talk about some of the different ships that they've seen before in just passing conversation, but their ability is that they automatically call out when an AI enemy looks to be attempting to engage. They can say special things for special ships. So, like when you're navigating or you're sailing, you're in the crow's nest, and you see that ship that's like down there, and it's for you. So you would no longer have to be in the crow's nest for that, because your lookout would be able to tell you that something was planned and on the way to you as soon as it was generated. That should help with trying to figure out which ship is destined for you, etc. All right, so the next one is chef. In conversation, they talk about delicious food, but their ability is that they increase the chances of looting forageables. Fortune teller. The fortune teller is always female. They give fortunes in passing when you're just talking to them, but their ability, similarly to the lookout, is they sense what AI ship was generated and coming after your ship. So the fortune teller tells you as soon as it's generated what the name of it is, and then the lookout tells you when it's like a point away, or like you're in between the same points. Wow, I really need to get on boats. Next one is the old man. He's always a male. In conversation, he shares scary ghost stories, but his ability is he can decrease the number of skeletons on the black ship when engaged. So my idea for this is, if you have an old man on your ship, then maybe having the old man on your ship will bring down the amount of skeletons on the black ship to something that is, instead of being virtually impossible, being almost impossible. So that would further create some new engaging content for the game. People going out and hunting the black ship, trying to take it down, knowing that it is a possibility that they can do that. All right. Next is the battle eye. In conversation, they speak of past ship battles, but their ability is that they automatically count the cannons that hit both boats in a normal pillage. Oh my goodness, guys. No more having to keep up with how many shots are put into your boat and their boat. You've got a Whitey who says it for you. Super nice. Next is the drunk. In conversation, they speak in slurs and mumbles, and their ability is that they increase the chance of looting rum or grog or swill or whatever. Next is the Viking. They yell unintelligible things in conversation, and their ability is that they increase the percentage of Poe won in battle by 10%. Now, I don't know if 10% is not enough, too much, whatever, that can be balanced, I don't care. Another idea that I had was, what if some of these abilities had like community weekends? Like when you play Call of Duty, there's like, this game mode makes you more, whatever. It gives you more experience. It gives you more cash, whatever. I don't understand why Puzzle Pirates does not have like, oh, it's Atlantis weekend. Atlantis gives 50% more rewards these 2 days, blah, 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 blah. I digress. But with the Vikings, maybe there can be some sort of event where the abilities do stack. So in my concept, they don't stack, and we'll talk about that. But it would be really cool to get a ship full of 30 real people and then their 30 mercenary Viking companions to really push the Poe ramp up in a pillage. More on that later. Next is the Thief. They, in conversation, they're not actually talking to you, but you see actions that they perform, just like, you know, whatever, seal waddles or cat meows or whatever. The Thief shows like different ways of trying to like pick your pocket. And their ability is that they increase the chances of looting gems. The Mime or Clown dances around silently, and their ability is that they increase the chances of monkey ships spawning. I've seen a lot of global about trying to get monkey ships to spawn. Why not make it more accessible to the community to make that happen? Next is the Vigilante. They do random intimidating groans in conversation, and their ability is if a captain commands it of a vigilante. So this would only be used by the captain of a ship or a commanding officer. But you can interact with them. I don't really know how you would start it, but you would activate this effect that would send an automated tell to all of the lasers on a ship and tell them to man a station. So, you know, you've got like a little bully that you can just click the button and then it will send a tell to them. It's likely that a tell, you know, might be seen a little easier when people are doing puzzle vision, and you can't really send individual private messages to every person that's lasing on the ship. That would just be gratuitous. So Vigilante, useful. The Explorer brags about past riches, increases chances of treasure map drops. The Doctor gives very strange home remedies for things in conversation, but increases the chances of looting herbs and minerals in the pillaging. Fancy, they talk down to everyone, and they increase the chances of gold nuggets. So you kind of see where this is going. It's either it's affecting the divide, the booty divide, or it's affecting some quality of life enhancement. The Blade Master randomly swishes his sword, waves it, or her, doesn't matter. They shout out the famous teams of 2 and 3. Maybe you could customize what they say before a battle so that it can be, you know, custom to the captain that's running it. Maybe it's something very generic. Maybe it's just something very piratey that has good advice layered in. Like I said, these are just concepts. The Boxer is the same thing, but for rumbling. So she randomly swings in the air and shouts out the teaming for rumbling tip. And I'm not sure if this is too much of an advantage, but I also wrote in here that maybe the Blade Master and the Boxer are good at teaming. So they never get on someone solo. They are always teaming with other people. I feel like that would be super helpful if people were going into a CI and they were using, you know, half Boxers, half Blade Masters, and then, you know, then they've got people that they've got AI that teams better than a typical whitey. All right, we're almost done, guys. Ooh, hold on. So the next is the Collector. The Collector brags about his trinkets and antiques in passing, but his ability is that he increases the chances of spawning a Brigand King. You know, Brigand Kings, they drop a lot of trinkets, fancy items, so that's the logic behind the Collector. Powdered, I couldn't really figure out a way to talk about someone who is just really only gun-minded without just saying gunner. And I didn't want to say gunner because there's not a same prefix for the other types, right? There's no for navigator or bilge or anything like that. So I just went with powdered. They randomly announce how many cannonballs are in the hold, so they have a quality of life enhancement. but then they also increase the chances of looting cannonballs. So it's kind of a double there. Last one is Hunter. Tells legendary stories about the Kraken and increases chances of looting a Kraken hunt map. Whew! All right. Taking a breather. And now we have some other notes. So, mercenaries have fixed outfits based on their prefix and gender. So if you give them new clothing of the exact same kind that they are wearing, they will take it from you and don it forever until you give them a new outfit, and then they'll put that on. Once you've given them the outfit, there's no way you're getting it back. So replacing the outfit simply overrides it. Okay? So, you know, if you want to get all 20 of your mercenaries to be decked out in black and gold, that's your prerogative. Maybe you've got a color that you're cool with, you know, like maybe you're, gosh, I'm trying to think maybe you're elastic and you want everybody to be royal blue, you know, whatever. It gives opportunity for more customization and more fun to be had. Mercenaries can get injuries. Yes. Your mercenaries spawn and wander around your crew and flag hall while you're there. So this way you can give them clothes, you can rename them with rogue marks, I guess. You can interact with them without having to be on a boat in the public eye, changing stuff around. A couple of notes here. So if 2 mercenaries aboard a ship, if 2 mercenaries are aboard a ship, the effects don't stack if they're the same kind, is what I mean. I need to put a little note in here so that I could fix that for the guide. In cases where the type of mercenary is one that shares information, a random one will cancel out the others. That way there's not multiple people telling you what the gunning count is or the amount of cannonballs or when a ship is seen. There's just one mercenary that gets the job done for each. All right. Also, let's see. I think that's it for the other notes. So I've got 2 more things to talk about here. One is, I think that you should be able to, there should be some sort of system that's implemented later where you can get all of your mercenaries on one ship. It's just you and your 20 friends. You know, you've made relationships with these mercenaries. They say the randomest of things. Maybe you start to get sentimental with them. It would be so fun to have additional missions on the missions page that were solo pillages, expeditions, sea monster hunts, to just allow players to experience leading this kind of content without other people having to contribute their time and their energy and their resources and the training, only to lead to a possible failure. So, like, imagine manning a decent-sized ship with your 20-strong mercenary team, and you go and you complete missions, each member contributing something to the team in their own way, similar to the feeling that the YPP Box Edition was going for. If you haven't seen the YPP Box Edition, check out some of the other videos on my channel. The catch here is that because there's no investment of resources or risk, there would be none or maybe just minimal payout. But perhaps that could be a trophy for reaching a certain round of CI or chest count in Atlantis with just you and your mercenary crew. This kind of update is a good one, as it allows the game, as it moves into obscurity, to still be able to be fun and interactive and communal. So, you know, in the year 2050, when SSCC is the only person playing this game, he can at least have a crew of 20 mercenaries to go and do out all the things that he wants to try and get accomplished. I'm just teasing you, son. Okay, and then another note on that is that the releases of the mercenaries could come in waves so that there's not a huge wait time for this update. And this would also allow players who are dedicated to max out their new partners as they're released. So, maybe the charter comes out first. Maybe it takes 8 in-game hours of pillaging with your charter to get your trophy and to unlock that ability. And then the next week, the next kind of mercenary is unlocked or featured or sold or hired somehow. And then that way, if you roll it out slowly, then you just created like a year of content, and you've also given so many new kinds of abilities and just tools that are good for quality of life improvements in the game. So that's pretty much everything in a nutshell. I've got a list of the things I'm not sure about, but if you're no more interested in that was the pitch. All right. So the things I'm not really sure about is whether or not mercenaries should be allowed to blockade. Although this model, if it was implemented, it would still be a fair fight because everyone would have exactly twice the manpower that they had prior to the update. So that's kind of nice. I'm also not sure if mercenaries can or should win anything. And I'm talking about PO, items, FAMs, or otherwise from a booty divide. And I'm also not sure if their items should be given to their accompanying pirate or given randomly in the divide or not be given at all. Maybe that work doesn't even get clocked in the system. Still not sure about the rogue mark name changing thing. That's just going to make a bigger headache for the customer support team. So you could do, similar to how the custom ships, you have to go through the encyclopedia of fish to request something. Maybe there's an encyclopedia of names that they want to use so that you can only pick those kinds of names. Or, maybe you just allow the community to come up with whatever names they want, and then they come up with weird puns and disgusting euphemisms and, just kind of let them go wild. That's fine. And then, as mentioned before, I'm not really sure if... Actually, I don't think I'd mentioned this before. I'm not sure... Oh, yeah, I did. I definitely did. I'm just not sure if the stats should be rolled or if they should be static based on the kind of mercenary that it is. Like, it would make sense for the powdered to be an excellent gunner. That makes sense to me. But maybe you have to keep going through powdermen to find that one that is an excellent gunner, and then nice. Then you've got something to brag about. So I'm not really sure about that. Whew. Guys, that is what I came up with after about 6 hours of having it in the front of my mind and having my notes out in front of me. So, obviously it's a work in progress. And the whole idea of it itself is something I've been thinking about for a long time, but I didn't actually think about it in the sense of what if it was implemented on the Emerald Ocean. I was more thinking about, like, hopefully dreaming someday if this game went to private servers, what I would do. So it's kind of cool that I can bring those ideas into the realm of possibility. That's kind of cool. I'm going to post this video and the document that I'm reading from right now, besides all the dialogue, in the game design Wikipedia, as Hestia mentioned in the forum post. And so feel free to respond and give feedback on it. I hope this got your creativity flowing. I hope to see your own ideas. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.